So I'm finally live now. Well, the purpose of this live streaming is to study for longer periods of time because the purpose of this study session is to complete a paper by 12 o'clock. Why 12 o'clock? Because it's a constraint, and if I say that 12 तक तो करके रहूंगा तो 12 तक करके रहूंगा और मैं कर रहा हूँ. It may be taking huge amount of data. Now, yeah, as it is, I still don't care that much. And I will be listening to music. Some music. I'll be listening to some music. Indian India of 2000s. डेटा की तो माँ शुद्ध गई होगी. हाँ. Figure 7A. Based on that figure, we will look at these things. That is, this was the WCR values. Can be seen that the hydrophobic hydrophilic sample to irradiated for 4 hours exhibits maximal WCR value of 9.52 milligrams per minute per centimeter square. Definitely, this is a important point that yeah, HHHP is 2 4 hour. Scar WCR is 9.52 milligrams per centi per minute सेंटीमीटर स्क्वायर. तो 1 मिनट में एक यूनिट एरिया जो कि कितना होता है 1 सेंटीमीटर होगा इतना ही. सो इतना एरिया 1 मिनट में मुझे 9.52 ग्राम्स मिलीग्राम्स फाइंड देगा. मिलीग्राम्स. ओके. सो again I can have one equal to this page. So let's say that 30 by 30, 900 centimeters square. 900 multiplied by 9.52 multiplied by 60 minutes. Milligrams, grams. Oh, आधा किलो पानी मिल जाएगा. So, इतने से आधा किलो पानी मेरे हाथ में होगा. आधा किलो is all आधा लीटर. Man, it's good. Yes, it is. It is quite good for drinking purposes. If for one person, if he requires this big of a sheet, yeah, I think every household that has this can easily afford it. But is it scalable? Can we produce it in big films? Is it the case? Which demonstrates sufficient water harvesting capacity. It is worth noting that the ideal surface for efficient water collection in general needs to be simultaneously promote droplets nucleation, condensation, and droplet removal. Yes, it seems like there needs a compromise between the droplet nucleation and droplet removal if it is necessary to optimize both these two properties by controlling the TiO2 contents and UV irradiation time because droplet nucleation requires hydrophilic regions, whereas droplet removal benefits from the hydrophobic regions. It can also be observed that the SHHCuO exhibits the worst water harvesting efficiency compared to other different samples. For the Cu at TiO2 coated surfaces, there is an upward trend of WCR values in the beginning and then decline with respect to increasing LBL self-assembly deposition cycles and extension of UV irradiation time. So again, there is an optimum value. The dynamic variation in the weight of the collected water for different samples has been shown in figure 7b. Using 7b, but I have, yeah, for which is it? The dynamic variation in the weight of the collected water. Dynamic variation. What are you saying? Is it cumulative water or for any given time the water on the surface of the film? Dynamic variation in the weight of the collected water for different samples has been shown in figure 7b. It can be clearly observed that the HHHB sample can collect the amount of 13.9 grams when the condensation time reaches 6 hours. What? I didn't get it, man. I didn't get it. On the film, right? हाँ यही हो सकता है नीचे नहीं न्यूक्लिएशन के बाद जो ड्रॉपलेट्स स्टक हैं फिल्म के ऊपर वो वाटर का अमाउंट है इतना द कंडेंसेशन टाइम यानी at 6 hours it is indeed high and equals to 13.597 something. Optimum harvesting capacity performance compared with other samples. It is commonly recognized that WCR is an important criterion to evaluate water harvesting efficiency among different samples. However, it is less persuasive to judge it along with this indicator, especially under different experimental conditions. The production and speed of fog generated by the humidifier. So the production and speed of fog generated, the distance between the fog generator and the sample, both have significant effect on the water harvesting efficiency. Therefore, the other criterion adopted as K was proposed to evaluate the water harvesting performance. Okay, so their harvesting performance is also dependent on another factor, variable called K, which is the ratio between the amount of water harvested by hybrid superwettable surface and that by the corresponding superhydrophilic membrane. In this work, for the HH by HB sample 2 after UV radiation for 4 hours, K is 3.8. So मतलब कि उससे 3.8 times ज़्यादा है. Okay, so we have a ratio between amount of water harvested by hybrid superwettable surface superwettable surface and that by the corresponding superhydrophilic membrane. K इसको बोलेंगे हम इक्वेशन स्लैश वेरिएबल. So this is important and this is important. So for our sample, which has been sampled to 4 hours, has a K of 3.8, which is a which shows efficiency. By equipping the copper mesh with alternating hydrophobic and hydrophilic chemical patterns, oh, so they exist simultaneously. Use removal mechanism of water droplets. All you have is gravity and surface tension. A schematic illustration of the self-induced removal mechanism of water droplets on the different samples has been shown in Figure 8. When the fog droplets contact the hybrid hydrophobic hydrophilic surface, they are first collected on the hydrophilic regions. Yeah, I'm still coding myself. What is the data? Fuck. Data कितना खत्म हो गया भाई 1.47 यार ये तो ठीक है इतना तो चलता है कितने में हो गया है क्या yeah music is hugely a waste I would not wear it so we have a schematic illustration of the self-induced removal mechanism of water droplets on different samples has been shown in figure 8 sure इसका मतलब है मुझे फिगर 8 देखना पड़ेगा इसको मैं नए टैब में खोलूंगा थोड़ा जूम नहीं हो सकता क्या ठीक है तो एच 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 बी सैंपल नंबर 2 10 साइकिल्स वाला का रेडिएशन टाइमिंग 046 में किसमें वाटर ड्रॉपलेट रिमूवल टाइम है क्योंकि जंपिंग फिनोमेना हेल्प्स विद रिमूवल एस नॉट में सुपर हाइड्रोफोबिक है हाँ एस फोर में हाइड्रोफोबिक दोनों तो भाई ग्रेविटी और पानी ऐसे निकला कोलिस होके ये फाड़ू हाइड्रोफिलिक है इसमें जंपिंग फिनोमेना नहीं हो रहा इसमें केवल ग्रेविटी है ठीक है कैसे मैं बताऊं अपनी कई इसके हुआ न न न न न न न न न न न When the fog droplets contact the hybrid hydrophobic hydrophilic surface, they are first collected on the hydrophilic regions. Yes, forming humps independently and growing up in situ. Then the two neighboring top droplets meet each other and merge into a larger droplet. Finally, the droplets fall off the surface by gravity and coalescence-induced force. Okay, when two droplets coalesce into a larger droplet, the surface energy is released due to the reduction of droplet surface area. Oh, because वो हो रहा है मतलब होने के लिए एनर्जी रिलीज थर्मोडायनेमिकली स्टेबल चीज है तो रिलीज कर रहा है however one part of the energy is dissipated by viscosity and the other part overcome the work of adhesion okay so surface energy release helps in overcoming adhesion and viscous force the rest is transformed into the kinetic energy to drive the droplet removal what the fuck the kinetic energy can be expressed as ek es vis ew तो वाटर रिमूवल के लिए सरफेस एनर्जी का सहारा लिया गया है ड्रॉपलेट रिमूवल रिडक्शन इन सरफेस एरिया रिलीज ऑफ surface energy, इसको हम नाम देंगे ES, एंड देन फॉर दिस रिमूवल काइनेटिक एनर्जी जो बचती है, फाइनल इक्वेशन E happens by ES minus E viscosity minus EW, ये है आपका adhesive force overcomes adhesion, and this overcomes viscosity. बिल्कुल. And EK is the kinetic energy of a jumping droplet. All right. So meeting together becomes produces kinetic energy. ES is the release surface energy. This is your dissipation induced by viscous force. This is energy has been dissipated. And EW is the energy dissipation induced by interfacial adhesion. When ES is larger than the sum, the excess surface energy can be transformed into EK with a velocity v, which drives the droplets to jump and fall off the surface. मुझे नहीं पता था यार ऐसा हो सकता है. सो एक कंडीशन है कि ई के ग्रेटर देन जीरो, सो ड्रॉपलेट जम्प्स ऑफ. सो ये है इक्वेशन स्लैश वेरिएबल. तो ये हो गया इम्पोर्टेंट फिनोमेना. और सेकेंड है आपका ई के लेस देन जीरो. एक्सेस सेपरेटर, हाँ, only by gravity, yes. By virtue of gravity only. Oh, so ये रिलीज दोनों केस में हो रही है, बस कम है कि ज़्यादा नहीं है, ज़्यादा है कि कम है, इस पर डिपेंड करता है. लेकिन ये नेगेटिव तभी हो पाएगा जब एडिशन में ज़्यादा एनर्जी रिक्वायर्ड होगी, which exhibits reduced droplet removal efficiency and exerts a negative effect on water harvesting behavior. For the samples S0, S4, the water droplets on the surface are stripped by the gravity and coalescence induced force, whereas the water droplets on the sample S6 shed off mainly by gravity because the excessive hydrophilic exposed TiO2 regions enhance the surface adhesion. It has been acknowledged that the hydrophilic regions are beneficial for condensation behavior. Hence, the average diameter of jumping droplets on the same sample S4, fuck you, because hydrophilic region is higher than that, is larger than than that of SO. It's not, which implies more efficient water harvesting behavior. Then the UV irradiation time prolongs. When the UV irradiation time prolongs, more low surface energy materials on the TiO2 layers are decomposed by catalysis, which further enhances the wettability of hybrid hydrophobic. आप कहना क्या चाह रहे हैं? क्या है? अरे यार, when the UV radiation time prolongs, तो wettability surface की बढ़ जाती है. Hence, there is more water vapor nucleating and coalescing on the sample. But it can have a negative effect on water harvesting behavior. क्योंकि हम चाहते हैं पानी खुद से गिरे, पानी आए, गिरे, आए, गिरे. खत्म. Figure 8 schematic illustration of the self-induced removal mechanism of water droplets on different samples here. Droplet removal mechanism on hydrophobic, hybrid, hydrophobic, hydrophilic, then more hydrophilic. So conclusions: to mimic the beetle's back, hierarchical CuO at TiO2 coated surface with alternating hydrophilic hydrophobic chemistry patterns were fabricated by means of chemical etching and LBL self-assembly deposition. Taking advantage of the photocatalysis of TiO2 by means of ultraviolet irradiation, the wettability of photocatalysis of TiO2 होता है जिससे अल्ट्रावायलेट रेडिएशन की प्रेजेंस में so the wettability of TiO2 coated surface can be controlled by the first of all the UV irradiation time. There are two factors to be taken, and the amount of TiO2, you know, deposited using a layer by layer self assembly method. Yes, experimental results show that the sample 2 with hydrophilic hydrophobic patterns exposed to UV irradiation for 4 hours afforded a higher water collection rate. हाँ आया 0.57 grams per centimeter square is low, but the experimental results show that of uniformly superhydrophobic or superhydrophilic samples. Compared with other hybrid hydrophobic hydrophilic members reported previously, the as prepared hybrid superwettable surface. So the they have taken into account the fog, fog. We yesterday went through this thought that by fear of somebody, someone, as has been triggered by just this voice situation, my fear of somebody, something, some feeling, some thoughts, and what and some uh, memories and some consequences prevent me from doing what I would have usually done, and also am enjoying life. My fear of somebody, something, some feelings, some thoughts, and some memories, some consequences prevent me from doing what I would have usually done, also from enjoying life. Because the place that I go to, because if the ultimate joy comes from being in those some, then it prohibits me from living my life. And for this very reason did I think that what would be the best case action to counteract this fear. And what did I come up with? I came up with concentration. I came up with focusing on your task, whatever may be happening outside, completely blocking it, and whatever negative happens on the outside is a challenge for me to become even a better focus machine. The more the negative outside, the better I become at concentrating. That is my, for the time being, my belief that the more the distractions of the worst kind, the more the distractions of the worst kinds there are, the more I become become better focus machine. And again, as long as I'm afraid, as long as I'm afraid of confrontation, I can use this way method to kind of live, because thinking of yourself as a victim would never bring upon help. I do require rebelliousness to, everyone requires rebelliousness for you, for them to not fuck with you, and for that to happen there has to be some form of resistance, and that resistance can come from this internal belief that the more the distractions there are of the worst kind, that creates a bad feeling that makes you feel afraid and sad and angry, the better you become at focusing if you are focusing, and if you're doing that, there's indeed the fear will not go away, but it will simply help you in focusing better, so that in actual times of distress, I won't simply feel bad, and I will be able to think straight and clearly take action. That's why acknowledging the feeling that I have, that is, I'm scared, I feel bad, I feel really sad. I would like to move forward nonetheless. Now that we are on the finishing, at the end of the paper, I've seen the ends, and there's something. Overview of the fellow works based on the hybrid hydrophobic hydrophilic surface. Says okay, so we have a table. We also have a table on para 18th. This is the final paragraph. Para 18 has a table on on overview of the fellow works based on the hybrid hydrophobic hydrophilic surfaces. Okay. Table has fog speed centimeters per second. 12 centimeters is a high speed, man. 12 centimeters means you are not joking, because let's round it off to 10 centimeters per second. 60 seconds में एक सेकंड में इतना है, 60 सेकंड में यानी कि 100 सेकंड में 1 मीटर, because 10 times 100 is equal to 1000 centimeters, which is 10 meters. 1 meter equals to 100 centimeter. So विजय आपको थोड़ी देर रुकना पड़ेगा, मैं बिजी हूँ थोड़ा. Definitely not. So 10 meter in 100 seconds. 10 meter in 100 seconds, or should I just say that 12 into 60 divided by 100, 7.2 meters per minute. 7.2 meters per minute into 60 hour, so 432 minutes meters per hour. 60. No, it's very small. It's not that big. Yeah, so we have a table with columns: fog speed, WCR, and K, and fabrication methods. So a lot of people have already done work on this. Yes. Oh, fuck. तो आपने जो काम किया है, आपने फॉक स्पीड 50 ली है. क्या है यार? रेफरेंसेस भी दिए हैं, अच्छी बात है. So what looks here is the fog collection rate. K represents the ratio between the amount of water harvested by hybrid hydrophobic hydrophilic surface and that by the corresponding super hydrophilic surface. Oh, corresponding super hydrophilic surface. Not by by the not by the irradiation time, but the one that fifth sample, super hydrophilic CuO at TiO2 coated surface. This is supporting information. They are going to sue you if you. Right, so खत्म हो गया.